For a few minutes, we're going to talk about guardrails and the installation of guardrails. Very often after we've gotten done putting together the beams and the columns and the deck on a particular floor, we'll end up putting up guardrail. Now, when you are installing guardrail, very often the fabricators will have put holes through the columns, and you can pass the cable that you're using. We use 3/8 cable to accomplish this. You can pass them through the columns, and then they need to be outside, around the outside of the perimeter of the building. There's various ways of getting them that way. When you install guardrail, there's a couple of things that you want to be aware of. You want to install your guardrail upwards from the edge angle, the high point of the edge angle that goes around the outside perimeter of the building. The reason I say that is that when they pour the concrete on that floor, they're going to pour the concrete up to the top edge of that angle. That's going to be the finished floor. So wherever the finished floor is going to be, that's where you want to start your measurement for going up and installing the guardrail. Now, the guardrail needs to be between 39 and 45 inches. What we do is we pick a number. The number is 42 inches. So from this point, which is the top of the finished floor, upwards 42 inches is where we're going to set the top line of the guardrail. Now the second line, the midline, goes halfway in between the top of that finished floor and the top rail, and so that's going to fall at 21 inches. We then take a lever hoist, come along, we put a clamp on the end of the cable and attach it to the come along. Then we fix the come along down someplace, anchor it down maybe on a column over somewhere not far away, and then we tighten it until we can get the cable as tight as it needs to be. Now, when I say as tight as it needs to be, what I mean is this. This cable, once it's completed, has to be able to withstand a downward or outward force of 200 pounds without falling below 39 inches. So realize this has to be very, very tight. So when you tighten these up with what we call a pork chop, which clamps onto the end of the cable and then attaches to the hook of the come along, and the come along is attached over there, and you're tightening this up, it needs to be able to withstand 200 pounds downward and outward without falling below 39 inches. The mid rail needs to also be pulled tight, and that needs to be able to withstand a downward or outward force of 150 pounds. So make sure when you start putting in guardrails that you put them in properly, and then when you make your final loop, you're once again going to put 3 cable clamps on the loop wherever you finish out the guardrail, so that then it will hold and remain tight, not being able to fall down below 39 inches with that downward pressure of 200 pounds. So keep this in mind as you work on that. Now, if you have any reservations or questions about anything that I've said so far, or have any questions about guardrail systems or how they operate, or any of the other portions of what we've had to say, you can ask your supervisor. Your supervisor is your competent person. He is a person to whom you can resort and use as a resource for information. So ask your foreman if you have any questions or reservations about anything that you've heard thus far. All right.